ho, ho, ho.
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
I tell you what, folks, yeah, my pronoun is kiss my ass too. It is going to be a hard-hitting free-for-all Friday because shit happens. We're going to stay all prepper, all SHTF, the whole show. My questions, no, your questions, my comments, my thoughts, your thoughts. Get them into Ooman because we're going to pepper it up. Me, you, we're going to do that. So you guys have a chance to run this show the whole time, and I want to thank you for being here. You guys are here every single day, doing the same thing I'm in, just getting ready mentally for what's happening. We're prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. But if you're not ready up here, what the hell are you doing? By the way, I am just moving mentally, full steam ahead. And let's jump into it. I'm going to do a lot of take a wild freaking guesses today. There's going to be a couple in there that you're going to go, you know what? I don't buy that one. And others, you're going to go, I've had enough of this shit. And truly, folks, for the most part, I've had enough of this shit. But there's no way out. We're in it. So if you're going to be in it, then you may as well be in it to win it. Because it has hit the fan. And, folks, it is a Friday free for all. Let's start with this. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Incompetence, is supposedly investigating 5 different electricity substations, power substations, similar to what happened in North Carolina, in Washington State, and in Oregon State. I'm sure. I mean, think about it, folks. Who do you think did it? Do you think it was Antifa? Do you think it was radical environmental leftists? Could it be BLM? No, none of that. It wouldn't be any of them. It's probably parents and veterans and right-wing extremists. Yeah, I'm sure the FBI is all over this one. I mean, it looks like we're going to start getting the copycat. The copycat. Copycat. Once they find a way to start chiseling away and scaring people, here it goes, right? Well, here it goes. All right, Ooman, are you in position, brother? Are you good? Are you ready? And he's giving me the thumbs up, looking down at the monitor. He is there in the background, working with you guys to get your questions up here. And we're on. We are on like Donkey Kong. Jolene's in the background. We're all here, folks. Ready, set, let's go. Down in Brazil, we've been talking about the results of their Nintendo game that they played. And they had a communist takeover attempt, a coup by the commies down there, working in collusion, in cahoots with none other than a communist sympathizing drug cartel and their gangs. They played the same game that they've been playing up here in America, down in Brazil. And the people didn't buy it. And the military didn't buy it. Criminal charges, folks, in Brazil have been filed with the military Supreme Court. That's the equivalent up here in America of our Judge Advocate General, JAG, right? They're calling for the arrest of the leftist communist justice of the civilian court, Alexandre de Moraes, right? They've had protests, and they've got more massive protests coming this weekend down in Brazil, folks. The protesters, the demonstrators, the patriots are calling, folks, for the army to intervene. They do not want Lula, the communist. And by the way, Lula has been accepted by the Biden administration as the new leader of Brazil. They even invited him up here this week. Jake the Snake Sullivan of the Biden administration decided to invite a communist to America, I'm sure, to have a state dinner and celebrate their takeover of Brazil. Who's in our White House? Are they truly Americans, or are they anti-American socialist scum? Truly, folks, George Washington is spinning in his grave. John Hancock spinning in his grave. Thomas Jefferson spinning in his grave. All the founding fathers are probably sick to death as they look down upon this world and what has become of the great nation of America. Now, back to Brazil. The communist folks are being warned right now. Beware. The police on the street are chanting at the Lula, the communist supporters. And this is what the police are saying to the commies. Folks, the police know, the military knows, and the people know that this is a trick. A very small percentage of the Brazilians are trying to steal the entire country from the Nintendo turnout. And the police are saying to them, quote, watch out, you bastards. Bolsonaro is president of Brazil. And they're also wearing Christian crosses in the Crusader style. It's going to get ugly down there. All week long, the military has been engaged in firefights, folks, domestic battles with the drug cartels. And they've been trying to kill the leadership of the drug cartels. And they've had some success. If that doesn't sound like a civil war and an insurrection coming from the left, I don't know what does. Watch out, you bastards, right? Bolsonaro is president. That is making a statement, folks. I'm actually proud, not that there's fighting, but that people are standing up for themselves and for their rights and for their nation. How this shakes out, I don't have a clue. But I guess we're going to find out, huh? Now, Uman, Jolene, and I don't know who's in charge of questions. All I know is it's Friday free-for-all and shit is happening. Who do we want to put up first? Who is going to step up? Who has something to say that we all need to get a hold of? And it is none other than Uman himself. And he's posting Chester Mosley's comment. And we're sticking hardcore prepping, hardcore shit. Hardcore, can you believe this is happening? Chester says, we used to manufacture our own clothes, furniture, appliances, medicines, etc. By doing so, the United States of America had a lot of independent factories and shops. Jobs were good and plentiful. Yeah, that was the old America before the rhinos started selling us out and the Democrats started selling us out and allowing corporations to leave this country and put their factories overseas and use cheap labor over there, then import the products back and say, hey, America, here's your Ford, here's your Chevy. Hey, America, here's your Levi's, here's your fashion. Hey, America, here's your lawnmower, your tools, your appliances, all with American names, right? Frigidaire, Maytag, as I said, Ford and Chevy. Folks, if you look under the hood of your vehicle, you'll see made, Heco in Mexico and made in China. They've screwed us, folks. Sometimes you'll even see a fucking sticker on stuff said, assembled in America. Well, what? They took one box from China, one box from Mexico, and put them in another box and said, assembled in America? That's about the extent of it. We are in big trouble economically, folks. In fact, there is a financial institution out there that is saying we are going to have a recession like no other. Ominous, folks. It's not just, we got a recession coming, or, we got some inflation. The warnings are out there. I don't need to shout from the rooftops. I don't need to play it up. I don't need to call for fear porn. Look out there. If the president of the United States and his mouthpiece a-holes are telling us how good the economy is, do you think he's telling the truth or do you think he's lying? And if financial institutions aren't lying to us and saying, it's great, everything's wonderful, and they're actually going, it's looking kind of bad, we ought to pay attention. Get prepared. That's all I need to say about this. And I'm going to move into take a wild fucking guess mode with the Jim Jones Juice, the Juice Booster, sponsoring this. And could someone pull down Chester Mosley's comments, please? How do I do this? Can I do that? I don't know. There we go. Thanks, you man. There we go. Sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice. I want to make sure that the sponsorship is understood here. And then we get to see Dr. Fauci's smiling freaking face. Folks, in the world of sports, I have been talking about athletes, super athletes, who are leaving sports, quitting, retiring, and even dying. And I've said, how are we supposed to look at this? Did this stuff happen in the past? Has it always been like this? Okay, are people dying from colon cancer? Appendix bursting, thyroid failure, liver failure, stomach cancer. Name an organ in your body that can fail. Kidney failure. But what are athletes and people dying of? Fucking heart attacks, blood clots, which relate to the strokes that people are going out. We're hearing all about that. Now, it could be, and I'm not stupid, it could be that that's what I'm hearing because that's what I'm looking for. But I don't hear about athletes dying because they had an intestinal hernia, right? I'm not hearing about people that have had spleen failures. I'm hearing about heart attacks, and I'm hearing about blood clots and strokes. Here we have a senior basketball player in college with the Tennessee Lady Volunteers. Not dead, folks, but sidelined, done. Why? Blood clots. Now, blood clots in your legs, in your arms, no, in the fucking lungs. I have never in my life heard of blood clots in the lungs. I've heard of them in the heart. I've heard of them in the brain. I've heard of them in the legs because people, they sit a lot. They're sedentary. Blood clots in a college basketball player. I'm tired of giving a pass. If I ever give a pass to that little prick Fauci. I'm tired of giving these people a pass. Blood clots is not something that super athletes get. Maybe their heart explodes from taking too many fucking steroids and going into tachycardia or tachyarrhythmia or whatever the hell that's called when their heart races. Okay, yeah, you've had a little bit too much amphetamines, you idiots. I got this one here. Take a wild fucking guess, folks. Rookie right tackle. That's right, folks. The rookie, meaning he's young. Internet, hello. What do we got going here? Rookie right tackle Max Mitchell. There we go. How about that, Internet? New York Jets. Max Mitchell. He is on a injury list. Not because he got a concussion on the field. Not because he got run over by a car. Not because he was in a bar and he got shot. He has blood clots in his right calf. Does that sound right? His right calf and leg. This is not an old man who's been eating too many fucking hamburgers for 50 years, who sits around on his ass. This is a rookie, meaning just out of college, in his early 20s, professional super athlete. It's not his heart exploding. He's got a fucking blood clot in his leg, a huge one that's taking him out. I've never heard about blood clots so many in my life, folks. All right, enough of my bullshit. What do you guys want to talk about? Oh, man. Jolene, we've got Jason Walker stepping up. And he says, a question for John, coming from Jason Walker. He says, your thoughts on mRNA shedding. Tested positive again for cerveza. You tested positive again, Jason? I'm just going to assume that's what you're saying. Now, the thoughts on the mRNA shedding. What we do know is the spike protein shedding is possible. We do this with ourselves and with others all the time. Remember when they said, well, we can tell if cerveza bug's out there because we're testing the sewers, because that's one of the ways the body eliminates unwanted and junk that it's done with. Correct, folks. There's several different ways the body gets rid of crap. Exhaling. It goes out your lungs, right? You exhale toxins, stuff that the body can exhale. The other one is urinating, right? Taking a piss. Things leave through the kidneys and the blood system. Also through our skin. Believe it or not, our skin excretes junk and garbage our body doesn't need. And also, yes, literal excrement, right? The body disposes of junk it doesn't need through feces. And I know this sounds kind of gross, but what the hell, right? We may as well touch on the subject. RNA, mRNA shedding. Yeah, our body throws away waste products as well as waste biomaterial that is not natural for us to have. In other words, germs, bacteria, viruses, our own bio waste, right? Because all of our cells get replaced quite frequently. They're created, they live, they do their job, and then they're replaced, and the body throws away stuff it doesn't need. A lot of that is DNA and RNA type components. So mRNA shedding, if our body is throwing that shit away, good, right? Good. If your body or someone's body defeats the mRNA and throws it away, that's good. But the chances of you, and I'm not an expert, and I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a scientist. I'm not even a Scientologist. If your body can throw it away, that's good. I don't think we can just get someone else's mRNA through contact, casual or otherwise. One of the problems we have heard about, though, is spike proteins, which are elements of these proteins created by the body that other bodies, right, we throw them away. They're garbage. Once again, the body throws away garbage. And there's some issue and some concern over someone else's bio garbage touching us and contaminating us. It's quite a problem. Our body does, especially through coughing and close contact, we pick up colds and flus and bacteria. So it's a concern. Wash your hands, avoid people that are assholes, and just having a clean living style. But we have trouble. I mean, I've heard about people like massage therapists and others who spend a lot of time in close proximity. Doctors, nurses, dentists, dental hygienists, others, right? That they're in close proximity to everyone, and that the people who are fully juicinated, Jim Jones juice and boosters, are contaminating others and contaminating the environment with their excrement, through their body orifices and then their skin and their exhalation. That is why I recommend detoxing yourself as frequently as possible. Now, with regard to testing positive again for cerveza bug, I have an opinion there, though it is not scientific and I'm no doctor, and it might even be considered cynical and satirical. But cerveza bug is akin to the common cold, literally the common cold. And we have been told for a couple of years now by some people out there that the common cold will trigger a positive result for cerveza bug. Additionally, other colds, flus do the same thing. And if you remember or recall, at least I remember and I recall back during the big scare, that people were not sick until they went and got tested because they jabbed a freaking thing up their nose. And that they were testing uncontaminated swabs, right? You take one, you take a swab, right? One of these things you're supposed to be swabbing people for, and they send it in, and it would come back positive. If you remember, the now dead president of Tanzania, who died shortly after what I'm going to tell you, he came back and he did 3 tests, and they all turned out to be cerveza bug positive. And they tested a pheasant, which is a bird, a goat, and a papaya, which is a piece of fruit. And both the goat, the pheasant, and the papaya tested positive for cerveza bug. So it's hard to say if we are getting cerveza bug or if we're just getting the common cold or some kind of a flu, or if we got a case of we're infected with papayas. You never know what exactly it is. There's a lot of people in my area right now who are saying, yeah, there's a cold going around. No big deal. People aren't fucking dying. People aren't falling over on the street. No one feels whacked out of their mind. But we're continuing to hear that the death rate is higher than normal. We're continuing to hear about people having reactions to these Jim Jones juice and the boosters. We're continuing to see some oddness in the world. And so we're watching. That's what I was trying to say, Uman, but brevity being the soul of wit, you said it much faster than I did. Go ahead and pop that back up there, buddy. Yeah, shitty tests that give a high percentage of false positives. That's what I was trying to describe. Yeah, when papayas give a positive, then yeah, that's definitely false. So their test kits are designed and engineered according to some experts and other opinionated non-experts. They're trying to make it sound like it's really high to scare people. That's exactly my opinion. Now, I'm going to change topics on you guys, and I'm going to run a little in this direction. We've been talking over the last couple of weeks and months about this satanic temple. That is the organization, the Church of Satan. Thank you, Oliver. Get your questions in. Get your questions in to Uman. Get them down below in the comments. Send them to Jolene via snail mail or carrier pigeon. We'll get them on there. But back to what I want to talk about. The Church of Satan has been out there. They've even started, folks, as we've noted, after school clubs. And their mascot is a little devilish-looking fruitcake with screwball eyes, and it's a fucking cartoon. And they're trying to attract kids to this. Now, I want to say that, folks, evil is out there. And most of the time in the world, evil hides and works behind the scenes in hidden and secret ways because evil is evil and people know it. And oftentimes it gets stomped out if it's discovered. So evil hides, but evil is a scary thing. Now, here we have the Church of Satan, folks, coming out and doing after-school clubs. Evil that openly proclaims itself and shows itself to the world, that is extremely dangerous because they're trying to say it's acceptable. You cannot tell me the Church of Satan is a good thing. You can't tell me that. Now, at the Illinois state capitol, not California, not New York, but Illinois in this case, the Satanic Temple has installed a, quote, Serpent of Genesis statue inside the state capitol. I'm going to say it again, folks. Evil that hides and exists still. That's scary enough. But evil that openly proclaims itself, shows itself, and makes a statement, especially through government, is extremely dangerous. And we better be very aware of it. People say, how could Hitler and the Nazis of Germany stand in front of God and the world and make the statements they did and commit the actions they did, and it just happened? Well, folks, all of Germany didn't buy that shit. And a lot of Germans, folks, I would even say a great majority of them, were against what was going on. Some said they were for it because they didn't want to oppose it and be exposed. And others were just about out against it, and they risked their lives. And many people were thrown in prison and killed for opposing the great evil that the Nazis and Hitler had become. Once evil is out, just like Hitler, just like Stalin, just like Chairman Mao of the Chinese Communist Party, evil is incredibly dangerous and scary. Once again, folks, the Nazis and the communists are all socialist. The Chinese now are communist, folks. The Russians, when they were the Soviet Union, were communists. And the Nazis of World War II were socialists. And they were evil, and they killed over 100 million of their own people. Not to mention the millions that were killed through their actions. Unfucking believable that the Satanic Temple is out in public, working with government to show the world exactly what is coming. Are you prepared? I tell you, folks, what a week. Ooh Man says, Illinois, just saying. I mean, we had years ago, folks, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, in I think it was the New York Metropolitan Museum. This is a long memory. 25 years ago, they had a art exhibit where they had, I think, a crucifix, right? A representation of Jesus, and it was covered in feces, and they called that art. I think they did the same thing with the Virgin Mary and called it art. That's not art. That's making a theological statement. All right, let's do this. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. What do we got? We got Charlene here. Says, I'm currently doing the annual required workplace harassment training. Here we go. Which annual required workplace harassment training? There's now sexual harassment training. There is anti-bullying training. There is ESG training, which I think is a form of harassment against us. There is the you must accept the radical fruitcake, light in the loafers, skinny jeans wearing LGBTQI. We better not harass them crowd, right? That training. Unbelievable, folks. Where is the sensitivity of the Christian traditional normal mindset? Where is the don't harass the law-abiding, tax-paying, red-blooded Americans who built this fucking country training? Where is it? Where is that? Now, I do agree with and understand that government should have a moral base. And so that should be based on something. And in America, it's based on Judeo-Christian principles, like the Ten Commandments, and also English common law, which also has its moral foundation in Christianity, right? But putting the crucifix, right, inside of government buildings, that would be to say a cross with a effigy or a depiction of Jesus nailed to it. That's really not allowed, right? That would be prohibited. You're making a religious statement rather than a moral statement, right? There's a difference between a moral statement and a religious statement. So having the Ten Commandments up is not a religious statement. It is a moral statement. There are rules to live by, rules that have been in Western civilization, particularly European and American civilization, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So when the Church of Satan puts their statue out there, it is not a moral statement. It is an immoral statement. And it is a religious or anti-religious statement on top of that. Right? Just as having the crucifix with Christ on it would be a religious statement and would be considered government sanctioning of a religious theme or belief system. Right? It's why the fuck can't they get this right in their heads? Well, they know what the truth is. They know the facts, folks, and they lie to us and they lie to themselves and pretend like, well, they pretend and they bullshit us and say, well, that's not a religious statement having the Church of Satan stuff there. But having the 10 Commandments up, we need to pull that down. We can't have prayer in school, but we can have Satan in school with their after-school clubs. Oh, it's in school, it's on public property, and good God, these people are a bunch of sick fucks. You know, and our children is and should be everything. And they are. They really are important. Children are the future, but they're not the right now. We, you and I, need to secure the future for ourselves as well as our posterity. Now, I talked earlier in the week about New Zealand, who threatened to take a family's baby away from them because that family said, hey, we want our baby to have uncontaminated, unjuicinated blood for their surgery. And New Zealand, the government, threatened to take the baby, and then later in the week actually did. They kidnapped the baby, stole the baby from the parents. It is a medical kidnapping now, folks. It's medical kidnapping, medical justification. They're not giving up. They're not going away, folks. And every angle, medical, military, educational, social, financial, everything. These scumbags, these evil bastards will not go away. All right. We're at the halfway point on this Shit Happens Free-for-All Friday. I'm going to give you a chance, folks. I'm going to give you a chance. Who wants to be up next, man? Who has something we're talking about? We have Eli in the Wolverine State. And he says, the more the amount of people, the less humanity they seem to have. That's an interesting statement. The more the amount of people, the less humanity they seem to have. Could it be that humanity is gullible? And I would say, yeah, that's probably an accurate description, that people in general are gullible. Sure, okay, we can, let's go with that. And we go with that, and then we say people tend to follow the crowds. Yeah, people get into kind of a mob mentality. Well, everyone else is doing it, I'm just going to join along. And then you couple that with social and media pressure. Right? While you see everyone marching in one direction, you keep hearing on loudspeakers like the TV and radio, newspaper, and then social media and the internet. Hey, we're all going that direction. Right? And so you're like, yeah, I see the crowd going, the media's telling me, and we all go in the same direction. You get mob mentality. So yeah, the more people that you have marching in one direction, they seem to attract a lot of attention. But, we on the Prepared Mind channel and other various patriot, prepper, pro-American networks, we were doing the same thing. We grew to 80,000 strong here. And we have been absolutely stumped. Not because the message isn't clear. I think I've been very fucking clear on the message. Pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-preparation for hard times. And hard times are on us. Yet we don't have more people subscribing in greater numbers than they're leaving, supposedly, or being taken off, being unsubscribed by YouTube, doing people a favor. So we're stalled at 80,000. The message should be spreading far and wide. People should be screaming, what the hell's going on? Why is everything broken? And looking for answers in places like this, rather than joining the crowd, the no humanity, anti-humanity crowd of stupidity, So they're doing that. I think that, Eli, is what's happening. We're seeing them go in that direction. The less humane, more stupid, more evil direction. It also coincides with government seeking more power and authority for itself and becoming tyrannical. Why would people want that, follow that, and accept that if it were not for the lies? And who is the father of lies? That's correct, folks. That which is anti-good, right? The anti-God, the anti-gut. There it is. Thank you. That's a very good topic. Now, speaking of the anti-good, I want to give you this very brief little message, and then I'll show you why it's important.
With COVID, I mean, the things that we thought we knew in the beginning turned out as the months went by to not be the case, which really forced us to adapt and to change some of our policies and recommendations. That was interpreted by many as flip-flopping or not really knowing what's going on, when it really was the evolution of the science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
There you go, folks. There you go. Fuck you, Dr. Fauci. Talk about father of lies. So, get this, folks. Fauci is complaining. He is whining and sniveling and saying that trolls, bad people, are harassing his wife and his children over his COVID policies, his cerveza bug policies. Of course, he says he had nothing to do with the schools and with society and with the rules and the demands of government, right? He's upset, right? Millions of lives, thousands and tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of businesses either destroyed or crippled and handicapped by this little bastard's policies. We, the people in the United States and indeed around the world, were harassed in our daily lives. I mean, it's still happening. Fucking family in New Zealand, they don't want vaccinated blood in their baby, so the baby gets taken by the government. And this little fucker, Fauci, is complaining, oh, people are harassing my wife and children. Well, look at what you did, right? We were harassed by government, by the police, by trolls and Karens everywhere, right? You show up somewhere during this lockdown shit and they're like, put on your masks, 6 feet spread apart. Police showing up, giving people fucking tickets, arresting them for being in the public on a beach, in a park, right? In the water. Their fucking boats were picking up people who were kayaking in the ocean. And this little fuckwad wants to bitch that people are harassing his wife and his children. We were harassed 24/7. Fuck you, Dr. Fauci. I mean, seriously, right? Shit happens, and this guy wants to complain that he's getting some backlash. Well, he's the one that ran out in front of a fucking camera and microphone and told everyone how smart he was, right? How many people have to die? Oh, by the way, Megyn Kelly there, all glammed up for the TV, right? She said, fuck you, Dr. Fauci. Her sister died. I would call it suspiciously, under suspicious circumstances. You bet. You bet. Unbelievable. Well, I talked yesterday about the New York Times. They're going to go on strike. And they were telling people, don't cross the technological picket line. Well, they tried televising. They tried bringing the media and get media attention on this. Folks, how many people do we have on the Prepared Mind channel? 80,000 subscribers on YouTube and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds through other social media. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands through social media. The President of the United States gets what? 200, 300, maybe 400 people when he does a live presentation. No one gives a shit. Folks, hardly anyone gave a shit. But thousands of people work for the New York Times. And how many people, folks, watched the live stream strike? 26. 26 people were watching live stream over the New York Times. No one gives a fuck about the mainstream media, folks. We have hundreds and thousands of people who watch this show daily. Who matters? Well, you and I do, folks. Our message matters. And the fact that you're here with me now, live, recorded, in the future, and the fact that we have the opportunity to email and mass email our representatives in Washington, I recommend prep to action. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Have your plan and also take action. Share the internet address. Text, email, whatever the hell you have to do to get it out there, to get the message out. And tell these representatives, they're supposed to be representing us, not their own personal interests. Tell them to obey the Constitution, their oaths, and observe them or face the wrath of the Declaration of Independence. Tell them that every fucking day. No one gives a shit about the New York Times. 26? You would think that, well, at least everyone who works for the New York Times would be watching their families, right? If 1,000 people are part of that, you would think 1,000 people would be watching. 26. No one gives a shit. The President of the United States, supposedly representing 350 million Americans, not to mention the rest of the world is supposed to give a shit about America. And he can only get 200, 300, 400 people live watching him on YouTube. And on the weekends, we do Sunday Night Live, The Zoo, and we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more than the president. Certainly hundreds and hundreds and thousands more than the New York Times. Supposedly the biggest single newspaper publication in the U.S. and possibly the world. And we get more people paying attention here, folks. That's how important you are. That's how strong the message is, even though they're putting their foot on us and hiding us and shadow banning us, etc. At Twitter, it's being exposed that Twitter has been hiding us. Everyone in the conservative world, everyone who is a patriot, everyone who loves America are being suppressed, hidden, and silenced. They couldn't do it, folks, unless they were cheating. And they cheat, and they cheat, and they cheat some more. That's what they do. They cheat themselves. They cheat us. Okay, man. Let's do it. Let's see what you guys are thinking about. We got Doing Stuff with Nikki, who says, never thought I'd see the day that the whole planet is fundamentally transformed by basically renaming a flu and massive brainwashing. You'd think we'd have learned by now as a human population. Interesting comment, Nikki. I think combined with the prior statement, yeah, people tend to get herd mentality. Herd mentality. They want to look around. See, they're uneducated generally, and then they're uneducated in the specifics of what is happening. And so instead of standing up for what they fundamentally believe, the fundamental thought belief system is freedom for me is a good thing. Now people are less concerned about freedom and more concerned about what everyone else thinks about them socially. So instead of going, I don't like that. I don't like that little prick telling me to stay in my house. Instead, they look around. They look to the left. They look to the right. They look down the street. They turn around and look behind them and they say, who is doing what? And I'll just follow the crowd. So they turn around and they start walking in the direction everyone else is, and they put their nose on someone else's ass as they all walk in the same direction. They just don't realize they're a bunch of fucking lemmings going off the cliff. So yeah, massive brainwashing and the desire not to offend others. And so they follow the crowd. I don't really give a shit if I offend others. I will speak fact. I will speak fact. Whether or not you like the fact is immaterial. Whether or not you agree with me 100% or 90% or 80%, it's really immaterial. I'll speak my fact, and I want you to speak and think your fact and make your decisions. But I'm not going to look around and go, who is saying what? And who is thinking what? And what direction are they marching in? In fact, when I see a crowd marching in one direction, I tend to ask the question, why are they going that direction? Who told them that's a good idea? And what is at the end of the path that they're walking? I want to know where they're going, what the goal is. If it's just to follow the jackass in front of you, forget it. I prefer not. Anyways, thank you. Great observation, Nikki. And apples. It's funny shit. By the way, I do not have an Apple phone or an Apple computer or Apple anything. I don't like Apple, not to mention their politics. In fact, I don't like the politics of a lot of these fucking major companies anymore. Here we are, folks. Free for All Friday. Sunday Night Live will be here. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Sunday Night Live. Sunday Night Live, the zoo, where we're going to look at the future, what's coming, where we're at, and what the hell is happening. Here's another one for you, folks. Here's a take a wild guess. Tina Turner's son died. And she said, quote, "Ronnie, you left the world far too early." Tina Turner's a musician, right? And musicians are notorious for their partying, their lavish lifestyles, and their drug use. So is it believable that Ronnie, he died suddenly, he died unexpectedly? Is this another case of the Jim Jones juice? Or is this that Ronnie has lived a rather radical lifestyle, Tina Turner's son? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, because he is a musician's son, odds are he leans to the left. Odds are he complied with government, and odds are he's taken the Jim Jones juice, in my estimation, and probably the juice booster. So whatever lifestyle Ronnie has lived, I'm sure the juice boosting that he's done hasn't helped his cause. But the fact that he died suddenly, right? He hasn't been languishing in rehab for 6 years, as far as I know. It's this word suddenly that is continuing to be sprinkled in the headlines. And when I see the word suddenly, it's about people who have died suddenly. And when I see videos of people dying suddenly, they all have the same thing, right? They all seem to behave the same way. Scared, in severe pain, and then they just keel the fuck over. And no one had any idea it was coming. You know, it used to be that people died. They would get sick of various illnesses, and not just blood clots, and not just strokes, and not just heart attacks. Right? Kidney failure takes weeks and months. And if they don't figure it out, right, you die. Most of the time they figure it out and you do kidney dialysis, right, which cleans your blood, replaces the work the kidney does, and, you know, people live. Liver failure, liver problems, you tend to show symptoms, and it takes a while to die from that. You don't die suddenly from liver failure. Even heart attacks. And folks, I talked to a guy the other day who had a little thing with his heart. And his doctor said, "We don't like that little thing that is going on with your heart." And they did some more tests, and he had some heart surgery and fixed the problem. He didn't die suddenly. He didn't suddenly have problems, right? But everything I seem to be seeing is suddenly, right? And it's heart, pulmonary, or stroke related, along with neurological issues, you know, like fucking twitches and shit, right? Right? Your face not working. It's kind of stroke related, but also neurological issues like Eric Clapton's fingers didn't work. You do what you want, folks. I'm not going to stop you. You want to go get jacked up on the Jim Jones juice? Go right ahead. About as brilliant to me as, I don't know, going down to MLK or Fifth Avenue and get me some crack cocaine. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. What do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind? East Texas Country Boy says this. Made sure to get Brittany out of Russia, but left hundreds of Americans in Afghanistan. Boy, how, and brother, you fucking nailed this one. The Biden administration spent how many months negotiating with Russia to get Brittany, whatever the fuck her name was, the man-hating, LGBTQ pro basketball player that took marijuana, weed, to Russia like an idiot, and took her loudmouth bullshit to Russia and got arrested and thrown in jail, had a trial where she was convicted of committing a crime and was sent to prison for years there. Well, the Biden administration couldn't have that because Brittany Griner or Griner or Grinder or whatever the hell her name was. Right. Which is pissing me off, right? Biden, without any warning, he and Secretary of Defense Lloyd, the loser Austin, and the Pentagon, the top brass, kept it quiet from everybody, including our allies, other countries, their militaries, including the American people, contractors, including the everyday Americans in Afghanistan. And they abandoned them by the thousands. Not to mention the Afghanis themselves, who are now under the control of the Taliban. Fuck them. Fuck it, says Biden. Fuck it, says Lloyd Austin. Fuck it, says General Milli Vanilli of the Army. Fuck it, says the Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Fuck them. Fuck them all. Fuck the military, the Marines, the Army, the Air Force. Fuck it. Let's give them $86 billion in equipment, bombs, explosives, rockets, drones, helicopters, tanks, missiles. Fuck it. Give them an entire air base. Fuck it. Fuck them, right? Is what the Biden administration and all his buddies said. But we're going to do everything we can to get Brittany Griner, a nobody that no one would ever give a shit about, except the LGBTQ crowd pretends. Right, that this woman's basketball player who has been nothing but a thorn in the side of everyone that she comes across, in my opinion, just my opinion. What do I know? Bonnie Blue says, Brittany Griner, the first trade in history of the WNBA to make news headlines. Yeah, except the trade wasn't to get her from one team to another. The trade was her for the Merchant of Death, Russian, that Russia wanted back. They're like, give us back the Merchant of Death, and we'll give you Brittany Griner. That's the only trade from the NBA, WNBA, that anyone's ever heard of. What an indictment, folks, about the politicization. I could almost call it the bipolar politicization of what is going on in the world. What is important? Well, she's a symbol of whatever this, who gives a fuck? Here we are, folks. I mean, shit happens and shit has hit the fan. Do you have any doubts? This is one more example of the direction we're going in that is not associated with truth, justice, or the American way. She broke the law in another country, and it was not, folks, an obscure law. It wasn't inconsequential to that nation, which is sovereign. The last thing Russia wants is to promote, or shall we say, perversion. And that's how their culture and their country looks at what's going on. In fact, they passed laws lately that said, no, you will not have your LGBTQ crap in our country and propaganda polluting and perverting the children and people in general of Russia. Right? They're not going to allow the importation of the destruction of their culture and their way of life. I can't blame them. It'd be like, Martians, right? Aliens from Mars, Martians coming here and saying, hey, don't mind us. We're just going to force our will and our culture on you people. Don't you worry about it, though. Everything will be fine. Crazy stuff. All right. Where are we at? We're almost to the end of it. We got Heidi checking in and says, I saw that the Red Cross are going to start allowing gay men to donate blood now. They said that HIV testing is pretty accurate now. I'll tell you what, folks, I am sick to death because I keep hearing about, and so I looked, and lo and behold, there they are. HIV medication on TV commercials that make the HIV that the people have, this is the word that they used, undetectable. So is this a drug that masks the fact that these light and the loafer men have? Does it mask it, or does it cure it? Well, it makes it undetectable. So you take a test and it's not detected. So here we have Heidi bringing up the fact that they say HIV testing is pretty accurate now. But they have a drug that makes detecting it impossible. Well, just because you can't see it or test for it doesn't mean it's not there. It's incredible. I tell you what, I pray for all of us that we don't have to have surgery that requires the use of blood from any public blood bank system. Right? I would hope that I have a surgery coming that I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to have name a frickin' procedure, right? Fuck, I don't know what procedure I could possibly need. Whatever the hell it is, I've got 2 months. I'll donate blood to myself. Right? I would love to have a private blood bank with my blood in it stored. And I don't know if you can indefinitely store it. I have no clue how that works, but it would be nice to get my own, which I know where it's been and what's in it. Good God. It's pretty accurate. And don't worry, if someone's got HIV, it's undetectable. Yeah, nothing like allowing people who have sodomistic orgies out there going, I could use some extra money this week. I'm going to go donate some blood and get paid. Good thing that what I have is undetectable because I'm taking the right kind of drug. Thank you, Pfizer. Welcome to 2022, folks. We're almost at 2023. We're getting there. We're getting there. Good golly. Good God save us all. Do we have anything else we want to talk about, man? Apparently we do. In St. Charles, Missouri, according to Eli in the Wolverine State, he says, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, said it's been blocked from testing the largest source of drinking water in the city of St. Charles. The city shut down 5 wells but would not let the EPA test it. St. Charles Mayor Dan Borgmeyer, there's a name, said because the EPA did not meet an insurance requirement, testing was denied. That's quite fascinating. The bureaucracy has stopped from doing bureaucratic tests because another bureaucracy said, we don't like the fact that you're not insured, which is a bureaucratic requirement. That's just fascinating. It goes right along with left-wing idiots are attacking left-wing idiots because their left-wing idiot ideologies are conflicting. And so they start fighting with each other as much as they fight with us. Why the hell wouldn't the water system just take a picture of fucking water and hand it to the EPA and say, go test this, but we don't give a shit about your results? Why doesn't the Environmental Protection Agency ignore the city's water system at the bureaucratic level and just go to someone's fucking faucet? Even if it's half a block away, right? Okay, there's the water facility treatment. So we're going to come half a block away and get a sample of the water and test it on our own. We don't need their permission to test their fucking water if it comes out of someone. This is how stupid government is. Oh no, we must test on the site where they're doing the work, as if the person halfway down the block doesn't get their water from that, right? What an interesting fucking thing. Folks, that is how I know that shit is hit the fan, that we're going to have problems because these people are so stupid, right? They confound even themselves. Literally confound themselves. That's how stupid they truly are. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon. They just aren't. Folks, it has hit the fan. It is Friday. I'm going to be back for Sunday Night Live with you guys, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring a drink. I don't care whether you bring a tea, a 5-hour energy, a glass of whiskey, a glass of wine, a glass of water. Just make sure the EPA has tested it because we can trust government bureaucrats, the same people who have tests confirmed that, papayas have cerveza bug, and that the Jim Jones juice is both safe and effective, while super athletes keel over left and right. How many times, folks, do you think athletes out there have quit and said, I'm not telling anyone how fucked up I am? Is the media even asking the question, where did that person go? Where did that person go? Folks, how many athletes and super athletes are out there right now in super athlete condition that aren't in the media? They're not professional. They're not getting paid dollars. But they are athletes, whether they're marathon runners or tennis players, just people in damn good shape who are like, you know what? I'm not quite feeling it anymore. I'm just going to have to quit. And we never hear about it. We never hear about it because they're not famous. They're not professional football or basketball or baseball players. They're not college basketball, football, or baseball players. They're not tennis superstars. So we just don't hear about it as often as we should. How much of this is going on? How many people out there right now who have had the Jim Jones juice? How many of them, folks, are like, you know what? I just don't feel as good as I normally did. We're hearing people going, you know what? I spend too much time around people who have been juicinated, and I think they're contaminating me with their filth. They're shedding spike proteins. They're shedding their mRNA. They're shedding junk and garbage, right? I don't have to have active mRNA. You just have to pollute me with broken chunks of junk where my body's, right? It's like sucking on a tailpipe of a car. You're not getting raw fuel. You're getting combusted particles, and it's still garbage, right? Mouthful of gasoline or lungful of diesel exhaust. They're both bad, right? I don't know. It's fine though. It's the government says everything's fine. It's been tested, they say, enough to know that it's both safe and effective, even though we don't know what the long-term consequences are. Yeah, where do I sign up for more of that, folks? Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Godspeed and Semper Fi, folks. And it is a free-for-all on the planet. Do you stand for freedom, or do you stand for tyranny? Do you stand for what is good and godly and decent and moral, or do you stand for evil and tyranny? We all get to make a choice, folks. You can continue to tell that lie to yourself that, well, all these Jesus pushers out there, I don't want to be part of that because why? Because someone told you that it's just not cool? Well, I'm not going to join some religious group because they're a bunch of stupid sheep. Okay, sheep. I see the direction you're going. Those are some dumb sheep, and those are some dumb sheep. I'm an independent sheep, right? I don't follow the other sheep. In fact, I don't even claim to be a sheep in truth, right? I'm me. Are you? And what is this country supposed to be based on? Freedom and liberty. We lived that way for a couple hundred years, and now all of a sudden, no, it's about community, and it takes a village, and we need to do what the experts say. Folks, we're in big trouble. Get prepared, help other people wake the hell up, and I'll see you Sunday. Chance favors the prepared mind. Semper Fi, and God bless America and the world.